theatre, film, TV and more. Suzy Wrong reviews it all on Joy Drive.
Suzy Wrong, we missed you. Welcome back.
Thank you for welcoming back. Hey, Warren, do you still develop crushes on people? Or is this something that happens only to much younger people?
Just before I answer it, Luke from Yarraville says, welcome back, Suzy. I missed you last week. So, there you go. You were missed.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
Do I develop crushes? Yes, I do.
You still do?
Yeah, I do. And I go red when they walk past me. Do you?
I can't remember the last time it's happened to me. So I thought it was something that happened to me a lot, too much, before I turned 40 maybe. I can't remember. Like when I was young, up to maybe my late 30s, it happened a lot. But not in recent years, no.
What does a crush do to you? How do you behave around a crush?
I'm not good with it. I don't know if anybody's good with it. I remember kind of feeling quite paralyzed by the whole thing. Maybe it has to do with, me kind of not having as much confidence at when I was younger. And also because I hadn't come out as trans at the time. So it was a little bit complicated in that way. I never really enjoyed it. I always found it, really frustrating and definitely not a pleasurable experience. But is it quite fun for you?
Well, I suppose, what is a crush? I get attracted to people. There's a couple of people, there's a few that I'm attracted to now, but I get really embarrassed and nervous and I lose my confidence when I'm around them and I can't speak to them. So they don't know. I just go into my little clamshell. But I wish they knew. I wish I had a little sign. And I could
I'm
just
picturing that this happens to you at the gym.
Yes, it does. It happened today. And I went to say hello. I thought, my trainer's going, just go and say hello. And I said, I can't. And I went to, and I couldn't even look. I just got so embarrassed, nervous, and just ran away. Ran away. So, I don't know. But
that's nice. I think that's nice. It still happens to you. It feels like, you still feel some usefulness about you.
C says, 53 cis male still crush, but much less often. They have to be pretty special. I agree. I think a crush is more intense, isn't it? Like you sort of, I don't know. For me, a crush has never eventuated into anything. It's like they're sort of up on a different shelf. And a crush never happens. But, being attracted could potentially develop into something maybe if you can get the confidence to go up and talk to them.
Interesting.
Suzy, we're talking...
But I think I don't get crushes because I have so much confidence now.
Do you think? No.
I think so. I think because I'm so full of myself, I don't have crushes on people.
They have to have crushes on you.
Yeah, they better do.
We're all following you. Everyone's following you with their tongues hanging out. Going, Suzy, wrong. Love it. Suzy, we watched a movie this week. It's on SBS On Demand. Hopefully you saw it. And if you did, join in the conversation 0427 569 949 or onair@joy.org.au. I was saying it was ANAïS in love, but it's not. It's ANAïS in love. Is that right?
30-year-old ANAïS is trying to write a thesis on the representation of passion in 17th century French literature. But because she's a carefree type of person, her academic work seems to be low on her list of priorities. In fact, we don't see anything figuring very importantly in her blithe existence. That is until she develops a crush on Emily, an older woman who has a much more established trajectory in life. The movie ANAïS in Love, streaming on SBS On Demand, shows us two women at different stages in life. ANAïS is younger and she lets emotions take over, allowing her infatuation to give her a sense of meaning, as though nothing else but matters of the heart are worth her attention. On the other hand, Emily is almost twice as old, and we see that although she does take an interest in the ingenue, there are plenty other things she wants to spend her time on. ANAïS in Love is a gentle film. It speaks delicately about women in love, and although not immediately gripping, I did find myself gradually opening up to what could be considered a very simple story. I found it interesting that this was a romance that is much more concerned with desire in the moment, rather than a more traditional attitude of always thinking about how a relationship is going to develop. We watch the two women pining for each other, simply wanting to spend time together without worrying about things like marriage or sexual identities. Indeed, ANAIS in Love never addresses the issue of identity labels. Are they lesbians? Are they bi or pan? Is this the first time they're experiencing homosexuality? I will never say that these questions are unimportant, because in a wider context they certainly are. Within the microcosm of two people falling in love, though, maybe those political questions about tribes and communities shouldn't come into play so much. In this way, ANAIS in Love is an idealistic film, one that allows queer people to imagine pure connections devoid of societal complications, an opportunity to simply fall deeply into desire and passion. Warren, do you think age gaps matter when two people find each other in an intimate way?
I do. I reckon they do. They do matter.
Have I struck a nerve?
You've struck a nerve. we're talking about how beautiful were the women in ANAIS in Love? How stunning, absolutely beautiful, and I really enjoyed watching them on screen. And the guys were absolute jerks. No wonder. She moved away from them. Seriously. But there was a big age gap, wasn't there? And it is something, I don't know, I struggle with it personally. I seem to be, everyone knows that I'm not in a relationship, and, I've been on a few dates here and there, but I get sometimes there's an age difference of 20 years and they don't have a problem with it, but for some reason I do. I feel uncomfortable with it. I don't know why. It's too long. It's too big. And I end up sabotaging it or saying, I'm sorry, I can't get past the age difference. What do you reckon?
Oh, that surprises me. I thought because you've got such a youthful demeanor about yourself, I thought you would enjoy the company of younger men.
No, but I find the conversation a bit difficult sometimes, Suzy. I find it's like we're on different planets in some ways. I find it sometimes, like, it's good at first, but then I just find the conversation difficult. It's all my experience. The last one, for example, was all about, we need to go to this party and we need to do that. I'm thinking, I'd rather be home with my slippers and watching a cup of tea, watching TV. Something for Suzy Wrong.
Oh yeah.
I just find it complete. I find that I suppose the experience where you are in the world becomes the problem, and it's there's just so disjointed and so different that it just doesn't work out. So for me, there is that's the problem with the age gap. But I know, I do know people in relationships with a big age gap, and they're absolutely beautiful model relationships, and I admire them for it. But I'm struggling with it at the moment, to be honest.
I think, relationships, the more serious they get, the more challenges surface, I think. And having the big age gap is not going to make things easier. I think there will always be, slight difficulties there. Sometimes it's a bit of a challenge. Sometimes it becomes a major problem. But I don't think that it's usually the main thing. I feel like if two people's personalities, are good together, that's a good thing. And then, everything else, they will present themselves over time, and then you find a way to kind of adjust, I think. I'm surprised to hear that is such a big issue for you, or maybe you just haven't been able to find
the wrong person, and
strong enough connections,
and maybe it's just the wrong person, and maybe it just happens to be that those people, there has been a big age gap, and I'm therefore stereotyping the age gap as the problem. But it might be that person, even if they were a similar age, we'd be totally different anyway, and it wouldn't have worked. And that could be it, Suzy. And here I am. Okay, you know what? I'll change my attitude to. I won't even ask their age. I'm going to say, don't tell me. As long as it's legal, of course. But
I think it's important to know. I think it's important to know, because you need to know, like, especially when we are older now, you need to kind of know people's shortcomings, right? You can't expect them to know all the things that you know. Like, I sometimes date younger men.
Oh, do you?
And I kind of.
We're all listening.
Yeah.
Do tell. We never hear about this, Suzy.
One of the men that I've been dating is significantly younger. He's not even 40. I think he's like 37, 38.
That's all right.
And we have a great time together. But I always kind of know that, look, there's some things that we don't want to deal with. Like, you don't want to talk about sort of heavier topics, you know. Like, he's really good with me because we've got family things, family dynamics that we can relate, and he's also from an Asian background. But, you know, there are just some things that has to do with time and maturity that, you know, I just look at him and I'm nodding and I'm just thinking, oh, this is not something that you will ever understand the way that I understand.
Is it the whip on your wall, the horsing? Has he seen that?
It's always the whip on my wall. They've all seen the whip on my wall.
They've all felt it.
Yeah, that is a non-negotiable.
I love it, Suzy. I didn't know.
I do think. Well, I'm always seeing someone, but I just kind of don't take it really seriously. I don't see any of them as becoming like husbands or anything. So in a way, I kind of expect that they will have boxes that will never be ticked. You know, I see these people and I think, I really like you for this and that, but you don't have that, and that's okay, because, you know, I can fill those gaps myself.
You're comfortable, aren't you?
But that also means I am, but that also means that I think what happens is then people would think that I'm really hard to kind of be truly intimate with. I do understand that, you know, me kind of looking at the world this way kind of shields me from being completely intimate with someone, which is one of the things in the film, right? When the older lady Emily kind of pushes ANAÍS away a little bit because she just has so much on her plate. She doesn't need to have ANAÍS with her all the time. But ANAÍS is younger and ANAÍS wants to be with her all the time. And I think that is one of the age differences.
I think one of the things also with the age differences is I want to do something nice, like have dinner or go do something or go skiing or, I don't know, bushwalking, something. I want to do that stuff. I'm over just the casual sex, to be honest. And I'm finding that the younger they are, they just want the casual sex. And immediately I'm like, no, I'm not having sex. You're not getting it from me. And then they get turned off. And then they say, oh, I don't mind, you know, no expectations. And yeah, I'm open to whatever. But when you put it on the table, they're like, oh, okay. They don't get it. That's what I find with the younger ones.
There's also the financial aspect of it, because like the older you have, the more kind of financial freedom. So you can sort of go like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that without thinking too much. I don't know. I feel like if going on a date with someone younger means to go to like an Oporto or something, count me out. I just think that there are those like gaps, and you have to be, I feel like I have to be realistic, you know, like you can't expect someone to be the perfect fit for you, and I feel like my expectations are really realistic, or maybe they are just a little bit low. I don't know.
Someone said, glad to hear someone is getting some action. Good for you, Suzy. Suzy's always getting action.
Why not? It's one of the greatest pleasures of life.
I agree.
You know, there's so few things that are you know, really fun. For me anyway, I feel like it's one of the things that I will kind of never compromise on. It's where I seek a lot of joy and pleasure, and I refuse to have any kind of issue or complications about it.
I agree with you, and I love it too, if that's what I'm after. But if I'm looking for something else, I want to start off with something else. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Got this message in as well about the movie which we're talking is ANAÍS in Love, which is on SBS On Demand. You can watch it now. It's streaming. It reminded me somewhat of Call Me By Your Name. Switch the genders and go to French instead of Italy. The age gap was less teetering on illegal, the younger being 30, the older 50-something, which was nice. I agree. The age gap is a bit different there. The lack of labels was a delight, which is what you said, Suzy. I just couldn't believe they waited so long to kiss. I agree. But it was kind of nice in a way too, because there was that energy, that sexual tension that was building, and I think it's going to happen now, and it didn't. I would have pounced when they were looking at the smutty art from memory. Yes, that's right, behind that stairwell, and they're looking at the art. I would have as well. And all she said was, your perfume smells nice. I would have been straight away. What do you reckon?
I thought the build-up was really lovely, and then when they finally did, they kind of get really intimate. I thought it was shot really well. Like it was a really beautiful sex scene, I thought. And I went back and watched it again from the start, because the first time I saw it, I was quite bored the first half hour, and then the second time I watched it, I thought, oh, it makes so much sense. Like even though we saw her in the start dating men, it was almost like she was acting like a queer person. She was rejecting kind of traditional ways of doing relationship, even though it was with men. And the first time I was watching, I kind of didn't get it. But now that I have a better understanding that she might be whatever label she is a sort of a queer person. And then going back to see, that's why the traditional men that she was dating didn't work out. In that way, I was surprised, actually. So it took me by surprise. I wasn't very happy with it in the start, but I just grew to like it more and more.
I agree. And I think the other thing I really like about it, and this is my opinion, I like the way it deals with abortion as well. It was just a decision that needed to be made by the woman.
Yeah, she just always decided she was never going to have children, and it was very simple for her. It wasn't like a complicated, like a soul destroying experience for her, and I think it was portrayed really well and very convincingly. In a very French way, I suppose.
Definitely, and good to see women on our screen. ANAïS, am I saying ANAïS in love? Isn't it? I'm saying it right. Yeah.
I think so. I hear three syllables when they say it.
Fantastic. Catch it on SBS On Demand. Suzy, we're going to go out with a song, but before you tell us what the homework is, the song is a song that featured in the movie, which is, of course, Kim Kahn's Betty Davis Eyes. I love. What are we watching next week?
We're staying on SBS for the Swedish film So Damned Easy Going, in which 18-year-old Joanna needs her ADHD meds to keep her mind in order. When she can no longer afford her medication, she must get creative in a hunt for money. The title, again, is So Damned Easy Going. For when I see you next Tuesday.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Suzy.